Mike Goose here. I want to say prayers and condolences to the people of South Florida. I couldn't figure out how, near the Cape, this thing didn't devastate us. This short video confirms and explains why.
Is our weather and our climate being manipulated? Examine the data in this short report. Decide for yourself. Frequency transmission manipulation of hurricanes are patented processes. The technology is not new. The list of weather modification patents numbers into the hundreds and continues to grow. This is Hurricane Ian, passing near the NexRad transmission facility in Key West, Florida. When the transmission facilities are fully energized, they have a repelling effect on any air mass that has been saturated with electrically conductive climate engineering elements. Patents call for such seeding into storms to be carried out from above by jet aircraft. The NexRad transmission network then interacts with the storm air mass, determining where a storm will migrate and where it won't. As Hurricane Ian is allowed to make landfall, the frequency transmission facility in Melbourne, Florida, is fully engaged. This effectively slows Ian's migration inland. The transmissions can diminish precipitation in some regions while augmenting it in others.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Weather modification, climate engineering patent holders like Raytheon and Lockheed Martin do all the weather modeling for the nation's weather forecasting personnel, the National Weather Service and the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Both agencies have an illegal federal gag order on their personnel. The scheduled weather forecasting scripts are then passed all the way down to the local meteorologist level. The official narrative must be controlled. All must follow the same script. Is it any wonder that the script readers miraculously know up to a week in advance that a storm like Ian, which was completely unorganized, a mass of convection migrating across the Atlantic, would end up where it did? The same with Hurricane Harvey, Sandy, and so many others. The U.S. military first officially deployed hurricane manipulation operations 75 years ago, Project Cirrus. Disastrous results were reported. In 1962, Project Storm Fury surfaced as a continuation of the U.S. military's hurricane manipulation efforts. During the 1960s, the U.S. military continued to expand its weather warfare efforts and knowledge in Vietnam with Project Popeye, a historical fact of record. So the bottom line question is this: is hurricane manipulation real and ongoing, while illegal gag orders and paid-off politicians are utilized to keep climate intervention operations out of public consciousness? Connect the dots and decide for yourself. Share credible data from a credible source. Make every day count. Time is not on our side. This is Dane Wigington from geoengineeringwatch.org.
The predominant winds come over California and the west coast, the upper west coast, and so they spray over the ocean, which creates some kind of grid pattern, and it floats over and it sucks all the moisture out of California. So these first couple photos are from the fire that happened in Redding. I was 42 miles away. Then at night you'll see the moon. That was before the fire. This is what they do and what it looks like even at night. It creates a dim day, then they come back over us and spray over the top of that. All that goes east. And then the rains get sucked up and dropped very heavily over the rest of the country. Oklahoma gets flooded, Kentucky gets flooded, the East Coast gets flooded. Then I have some photos of chemtrails that are somewhere over Oklahoma, I believe. And where you see the trees, this is before the fire in Redding. This is what it was starting to look like. And at the end of this, there's, I want to say 3 or 4 photos from Florida, because they do it here too. And that video explains exactly what's going on. Thanks for watching. Thumbs up, like it, whatever. Hopefully you get some information out of this and real proof, because it's horrible. We all have aluminum oxides in us now, the plants, the water, the ground, the dirt. It's about the worst thing they could possibly do, and that is poisoning our air. Then talking about climate change. Stop messing with it and it won't change so much. And all this does is create a greenhouse effect, so the heat goes up. It's all lies, government lies. Anyway, I hope you enjoy it. Thanks. Hang on, I'm going to add a little bit more so you can know that this is a worldwide, it's not a conspiracy, they're outright telling us. It's all true. All of this is being plotted against us and other nations in the free world.
You know, we partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, you know, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in. Unfortunately, like for example, the UN, I was astonished to learn from my social media colleagues that we fall under a category called civic institutions, which means our starting point, we're downranked. So our starting point is down here, whereas Joe, conspiracy theorist, you know, can start here. And so Facebook tries to address this by giving us ad credits so that we can then come back and be at the same place that whoever wants to say anything person is. But it is an algorithmic shift that was deliberately taken to favor individuals over institutions. And the institutions who are there to serve the public for good are at a disadvantage. You know, we partnered with Google, for example. If you Google climate change, you will, at the top of your search, you will get all kinds of UN resources. We started this partnership when we were shocked to see that when we Googled climate change, we were getting incredibly distorted information right at the top. So we're becoming much more proactive. You know, we own the science, and we think that the world, you know, should know it, and the platforms themselves also do. But again, it's a huge challenge that I think all sectors of society need to be very active in.